So good. Okay, perfect. Hello, how are you? I want to welcome you to to the course English for Business. This is session two, the search of suppliers. Remember that this is part of unit two. Unit two is the suppliers, and your teacher, Liliana Quipuzco. So we're gonna start with today's session. First of all, I want to read again the course considerations. First, remember that you must speak English during the entire conference. If you are not able to speak in English, as a last resource, you can try to write or speak in Spanish, and I'll do my best to explain to you what you are not understanding with other words, okay? Then, second, you can ask questions during the course of the conference. I'm going to be explaining each part of today's session, and I will make breaks in order to answer your questions. Third, I will appreciate if you share any kind of anecdotes, experiences, or maybe any kind of problems that you have right now that are related to the subject of today's session in order to help you. And finally, at the end of each session, we will have an exam with multiple choice questions with four alternatives. I will give you a link, and also you're going to be able to find this exam on your virtual platform. So after we see today the material, maybe later you can check it again and see the video again. You will be able to take this exam and be able to pass it. Okay. So we were saying that see okay, we're here. We were saying that today's session, the session of today is the search of suppliers. So we can see here that there's a word that maybe not everybody knows. So what is a supplier? So when we don't know a word, we go to look it up on the dictionary. So what is a supplier? According to Cambridge Dictionary, a supplier is a company, a person, or maybe another kind that provides things that people want or need, especially over a long period of time. So in this case, Cambridge Dictionary says that a supplier could be a single person or an established company that is going to provide to you maybe something that you need, maybe a product, but it specifically says that it is for a long period of time. Okay, so it will not be just one purchase. It means that it's going to be you're going to build a relationship with this person, according to Cambridge Dictionary. On the other hand, Oxford Dictionary says that a supplier could be a person or an organization that is going to provide something that you need. That could be a product or a service. Let's see the differences. In Cambridge Dictionary, we see that it says for a long period of time. On the other hand, Oxford Dictionary doesn't mention any kind of period of time. So we can see here, we can make a comparison and we could say, combining these two meanings, that a supplier could be over a long period of time or a short period of time. Okay, so it is not going to matter the time that you're going to do that or you're going to build a relationship. But in general, a supplier could be a person or a company that is going to provide you with a product or a service for a time that you and your supplier are going to talk and get together and think maybe for how long it would work. Okay. Now we're going to see that searching international suppliers, especially because we're doing English for business. In this case, we're going to be talking about not just um, domestic business between Peru, inside of Peru, but also international businesses, international trade that is going to take between a person, an importer in Peru, and an exporter abroad. Okay, so in this case, the searching of international suppliers means that you're going to look for the best fit for you. For example, if you search for your own provider, you are going to be able to find one that is going to have a better price, a better quality, a better delivery time that is going to match your expectations. So there is kind of a funny way of saying that I like to say, especially that if you're going to look for a supplier, it is not that I can just take any supplier or I could just copy or steal or borrow another person's supplier, but it's it's something a little more personal to find a supplier. So it could be like you are like getting a boyfriend, let's say, in a funny way. So when you're getting a boyfriend, you're going to look for the other person to be that is going to match to you, right? That is going to have the same feelings you have, that is going to have the same goals or maybe the same aspirations, that they are looking forward to the same. So in this case, it is the same. If you're going to look for a supplier, that is someone who's going to provide to you maybe some products or services, you have to find someone that is looking forward to the same point with you. So it is going to be someone that has a good price for you, someone that is looking to have a better quality, to produce manufactured products that are going to be of a better quality, like you will want a better one to buy a better quality. And also it has to be a person that wants to grow up or wants to develop, as I imagine that you will want to, right? So if you find your own provider or your own supplier, you're going to be able to find someone that is going to match all your expectations, so you're going to be completely satisfied. So in this case, there are some details that we are going to see when we are looking for a supplier. First, you have to look at your product. What is your product? Maybe you're importing cell phones, or maybe you're importing shoes like sneakers. So in this case, first of all, you have to look if you're going to import small quantities or large quantities. If you're going to import large quantities, you will be able to maybe import using a ship. So it's going to be transport by sea, and in this case, um, you will be able to do a FCL, a full container load import. So it's going to be best price for you. On the other hand, if you're going to import small quantities, could be a small coach or medium-sized coach, maybe it would be better for you to not import by sea, but import by air. Why? Because if you're importing small, a few products, it's going to be much cheaper for you to pay for an air transport, and also it's going to be best for you because you're going to be able to have the products in a fast way to get it fast from here to Peru. Okay, so first you will have to look at your product and check if you're going to import small quantities or large quantities. On the other hand, we have also the type of suppliers. In this case, we have three types of suppliers. We have new, we have old, and we have recommended suppliers. The new suppliers are the going are the ones that are you are going to find for yourself. Okay, so maybe I'm going to buy shoes, so I'm gonna go into the internet and find new suppliers, new shoe suppliers, or maybe go to a fair, or maybe just look for a brand that I really like and go straight to the manufacturer. So the ones that you are going to find for yourself, those are the new suppliers. The old suppliers are the ones that you have already used. So in this case, if I have already imported from, let's say, China, and I use my supplier that is called Chinese SAC, let's say, and I'm going to make a new import, and I'm going to use him again. In this case, he will be an old supplier. And finally, we have the recommended ones. These are the ones because, for example, maybe I'm going to import cell phones and I have never imported cell phones. So, but I know that my friend or maybe a relative or maybe another person that has the same business as I do, they already have imported cell phones. So maybe I could ask them, who are you buying your cell phones from? Maybe you can let me know your supplier so I can use it too. As maybe crazy as you can imagine, there are a lot of people who share who their suppliers are, so they both can buy from the same supplier to get a discount because they're buying large quantities. So in this case, it could happen that you could ask someone else for their supplier and they're going to give you the name. And if you import from this person, it is going to be a recommended supplier. But from these three kinds of suppliers, the one that I will recommend, it is the new ones because they are going to match your expectations. But of course, there are some exceptions. Maybe you find a recommended one that has a better price, delivery time, and quality, and it would be your best fit than maybe a new one or an old one, and that is okay. Remember that each case is a special case, so it doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean that everybody has to buy from a new supplier. There are going to be exceptions, but in general, the best supplier is the one that you find for yourself. And in this case, it will be a new supplier. So now, um, remember that when we are looking for international suppliers or maybe domestic suppliers, the idea is to have a list, to make a list of 5 to 10 potential suppliers. So from this list, I'm going to be able to pick which is the best supplier. We're going to see later on further sessions how to pick the best supplier. So we're going to leave that point just here, like an introduction for our following sessions. Then we have the detail of international suppliers. In this case, we can go directly to the manufacturer. Maybe we saw sneakers that we really like, or maybe a cell phone, and we see maybe the brand, and we go into the web and we look it up and we go straight to the manufacturer. We write to them and we let them know that we want to buy from them, and they say it's okay, sell to you and ship it to Peru. So it will be we will be having an international supplier that is a manufacturer. In case that our manufacturer says that he cannot sell to us directly, we can use but he can send us to an authorized dealer. We will go down the line and we will go to an authorized dealer. In this case, it is better if you ask for an authorized dealer that is abroad, an international authorized supplier, because when we contact authorized dealers that are in Peru, they tend to be a little more expensive. So it is better if we go to an international authorized dealer, a one company or a person that is not in Peru, that is abroad. Then we have retailers. This means that we were not able to buy from a manufacturer or from an authorized dealer, and we can go to small companies. Um, there are retailers that they sell like one by one, so we can buy from them if it is still if they have a cheaper price that on the other hand if we buy it here in Peru. We also have e-commerce, and maybe you know this e-commerce. These are the pages, the web pages, the apps that you already know, like AliExpress, Alibaba. AliExpress is for small quantities, Alibaba for larger quantities, Amazon and eBay. From these three, I would recommend if you're going to buy large quantities, Alibaba is a good one. They have a really good support, client support, customer support if you don't get your products, and they give you back the money until a certain amount of money. Okay, so you have to be careful with this. But Alibaba is really good. AliExpress for small quantities, if you're just going to sell, let's say you're not going to buy 100 units, but you're going to buy 10 units or 5 units of each product, AliExpress it is a good option. And Amazon too, because you are going to be able to find in Amazon uh, quality products and products that are original products in this case. Remember that it is much harder to buy original products from AliExpress and Alibaba. They tend to sell dupes, like we use we tend to call dupes, or it would be like copies. Okay, so you have to be careful with that. And finally, we have eBay. Personally, I don't like eBay because their customer service is not that great, but you have it as an option too that is really popular. And finally, an international supplier could be a trade fair. In this case, it would mean that you will travel abroad to a fair, or maybe you will go to a fair in here in Peru. Why it says bring a translator? If you're going to do international businesses with people from other countries, you have to look. Maybe if you're going to talk to a Chinese supplier, maybe they won't talk Spanish. So you will have to bring a translator if you're not able to speak in English. Or maybe if they don't know English, they just know Chinese, maybe you will have to bring a translator so he can help you with Chinese translations. So you have to be careful. From my experience, if you are in Peru and you go to a fair, you're going to speak just in Spanish and English. Most of them are going to talk in Spanish, but there are a few ones that just speak in English, and they're really good companies and have really good prices. So maybe you can bring a translator. If you're going to go abroad and you're going to go to an English speaking country, of course you will have to bring a translator if you don't speak the language. If you're going to go maybe to a Canton Fair or maybe to another fair in China, it is best for you to bring a translator that is going to be able to speak in Chinese, because you're going to a Chinese speaking country. Let's say you're going to go to France. So if you're going to France, you will have to bring your French translator. So it will be the translator will depend from um, in which country you're going to be, and if we're talking about being on a fair in Peru, it would be there will be just most likely there will be just two options, English and Spanish. Okay, so now we're going to see the tools. In this case, first of all, I must say that you have to list your priorities. So in this case, it's for if you think that the best for you it is price and delivery time against quality, so you will say that you will pick the one that has the best price and the best delivery time, and quality will be the third online. Okay, so every time you are listing, you will have to list your potential suppliers and the list of your priorities, so you can make a crossover, so you can find who's the best supplier for you. Remember that again, we're going to see this on further sessions, especially how to pick and how to do this match, this comparison between potential suppliers and list of priorities. Now, going back to today's session, we will have the tools. Remember that we have online tools. There are some are free, some are not. But we have here, for example, we have TradeMap that is for internet from the International Trade Center. We have ADEX Data Trade that is from ADEX. We have Penta Transaction that is from a private company, and we have Berry Trade that is also for a private company. So these are tools that are going to help you look who is selling the products. For example, we're going to be able to look if I am from Peru. We're going to be able to find the suppliers that are selling, let's say, from China to Peru, especially the ones that are not free. I'm sorry, especially the ones that are free. Maybe they won't be able to. Maybe you won't be able to find the exact name of the supplier. against the ones that you have to pay. For example, if you go to Adex Data Trade or Printer Expansion or Very Trade, you will find more details. So if you're able to pay for a contract and get this service, it will be really great. If you are not, remember that you can always ask for a free membership that they give you, I think, for 5 days, 10 days maybe. So you can look it up and you can just state a little how the tool works. So you can find your supplier, and if you like the service, you can acquire the product, in this case, the service later. If not, you can always look at least on TradeMap to get an idea. Maybe I won't find the supplier name, but maybe I will get an idea of from which country I should be looking and buying from. So now we're going to see the tools. So remember the trade map is free. Very Trade is not free, but they have like a free option that has less details, but it is still a free option. We also have Adex Data Trade that it is not free, and finally we have Penta Transaction that it is also not free. So we're going to see now how these pages really quickly how they work. So let me see. I'm going to share to you right now my screen so we can look it up. So Aldair, please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, perfect. So this is the web page of TradeMap. On the material, you're going to see that on the bottom there's the direct link. So just click there and it's going to send you here. So this is TradeMap from the International Trade Center. So you can see here that it has a lot of details that you can look it up later, maybe when you have a little more time. This web page works in collaboration with the European Union and also with the World World Trade Center. Okay, so in this case, we are going to be able to look for imports and exports. So in this case, we're going to look for imports as an example. So in this case, I'm sorry, I was talking, it is in this webpage is in collaboration between the European Union and the World Trade Organization. I'm sorry, I made a confusion there. So correcting, it is from the European Union and the World Trade Organization. Okay, now that we have the record straight, so we're going to see how we can work with this webpage. We're going to check imports because that we're going to look it up, and then in here we're going to choose the product. Okay, so we just click and we wait until it loads. So we're going to see here, oh, let's wait. Okay, so we check imports. We see here that we're going to see all the codes from the HTS codes. So maybe we can, let's say, look for chapter 65. Okay, so we're going to look for chapters. You can see in more detailed prose, we're going to look for a chapter to be a little more general on the explanation. In this case, you can write in here the complete HTS code or just the chapter. I'm putting 61. You have to be a little patient because if your computer is not that fast or you have many windows open, it could get a little slow. So in this case, we're going to choose chapter 61. We're going to click on it, and then we're going to put the country. In this case, we are going to look for Peruvian imports. So in this case, it would be Peruvian imports of the chapter 61. And also we have an extra detail we can put in here, which is our partner. Maybe we can look for China. We can check China, so it will be imports from products from the chapter 61 that China sent to Peru. So in this case, the exporter would be China, the importer would be Peru, and the chapter of choice would be the 61. But we're going to keep it general, and we're going to put it just in blank there. And we're going to see Peruvian imports from the chapter 61. And we're going to look for trade indicators. And we're going to wait. Okay, so now we see that Peruvian imports from the chapter 61 represent 0.1%. Peruvian imports represent 0.1% of the world imports of this product. So we're on the 53rd rank. And we can see here a lot of shares, trade balance, value imported, but it means generally that we import products from the chapter 61, especially from China, then Bangladesh, then Colombia, Cambodia, Vietnam, and India. These are top, okay? So if we're going to import products from chapter 61, that in this case is articles of apparel and clothing, accessories, knitted or crochet, in this case clothes, it means that we import from China and Bangladesh, that two most exported countries. So in this case, it would mean that China and Bangladesh, maybe they have a better price. So if we're going to import products from the chapter 61, maybe we will have to keep an eye on Chinese exporters and exporters from Bangladesh. So this is the first web page. Then we have Berry Trade. Like I said, there's like free option of looking for the product. You're going to find the direct link. Remember that you can look for prices also if you want to buy the complete product. But we're going to see also for chapter 61. Oh wait, we can see here for, let's say, sneakers. In this case, I'm going to put it in Spanish because the web page is on Spanish. Oh, let me check. It looks like we have to reload. Okay, now we are here. We can look by product. In this case, we're going to put the product in Spanish. And we're going to click on search. Oh, unfortunately, it looks like the web page is not working. However, on the morning it was working. Maybe it's a little saturated, but I'm going to try to explain to you. If you go to the link or you go to free trial, you're going to be able to find this web page. You're going to put in here the description of your product in Spanish, and you're going to click to search, and it's going to open like similar web page as trade map, that you're going to be able to find which are the most important countries that export to Peru. So basically, that is the how this works. If you buy for the complete service, you will be able to find more details. In this case, you will be able to find details, which is who was the importer. In this case, the Peruvian company, and also you will be able to find the exporter, so the name of the company that sent the products to Peru. So you will be having a little more detail if you buy the complete Pro. If not, you're going to have the general description as we saw it on Trade Map. Then we're going to look for ADEX Data Trade. Now, remember that ADEX Data Trade is paid. You have to pay. So in this case, I'm not going to be able to show you the complete how it works, because you have to pay for it, but essentially it works the same. It has the same search details, the search information that TradeMap asks for you. Data Trade asks you for the same information, and you will be able also to find, in this case, not just which are the most important countries that export the products to Peru, but also you will be able to find who was the company that was importing, which is the number of the DUA, or the dam, in this case in Spanish, DUA or dam. You will be able to find who was the person, who's the importing company, in this case the Peruvian company, and also you're going to be able to find the exporting company. Remember that you can write to them, you can write to ADEX, in this case you can go to clients or to us or to contact them, and you can ask for the prices, so you can get a quote and see if you're able to buy it. If not, I think that they used to, at least on 2018, they were giving like a free trial of a couple of days if you ask for, so you can test it out, and if you like it, you can buy it. And finally, we have Penta transaction. Penta transaction, it is also it is very similar to VeriTrade, and you also have to pay for it. So we are going to be able just to see the main web page. But if you go to ask for a free demo, for a free trial, you can check. You can put all your information in here. You can click on send, and they will contact you and give you a free trial. Penta transaction works really similar like VeriTrade and TradeMap, so they will ask you for the same information. Okay. So now, continuing with today's section, we're going to see a video. So this video is how to find suppliers. So I'm going to share to you again my screen. Okay. And we're going to see this video on how to find suppliers. Okay, I'm going to put subtitles so you can hear very well. Okay, so we're going to listen to it.
Our own studio, which I'm in today, which is kind of exciting. Anyway, when we were looking for these initial suppliers, we would go around in our casual clothes and look at all their distributors and have a look at their end products to determine who had the best quality. Then we would go back to the ones who we liked in our, business gear, and we would take our business cards and our idea and end up having these hours and hours long meetings where we would explain what we were doing and try to help them to buy into this vision that we had about what Shoes of Prey could be. At the end of these discussions, the ones who said yes, there was never an agreement written down. It was up to us to prove ourselves to be a worthwhile partner. We discovered that depending on what you want to make, there are a few different ways to find suppliers that'll be right for you, if your product already exists. If you're looking to make something that already exists, then it could be as simple as searching online for a supplier and finding someone who knows how to do it. This should be a really low commitment, easy way to do things, and it should come out right if they've got experience in knowing how to make it. So maybe start out by searching Alibaba and just having a bit of a Google around. If you need to learn about the industry, or you're not sure exactly what product that you would like to make or a series of products you would like to make, then it's a really good idea to go to a trade fair. A great example is the Canton Trade Fair that's held in Hong Kong every year. It's broken up into a series of weekends, and each weekend is themed to a different set of industries. You go into these halls and they're literally football fields big, and there are all of these little booths set up, and they're all the different manufacturers, and they can show you, the different products that they make, so you can learn about the range of products that might be in the area that you're thinking about going into. And it's also a good opportunity to start off discussions with those suppliers and manufacturers. If you want to do something totally out of the box, something crazy that hasn't been done before, like making shoes on demand, that's crazy, then what you're going to need to do is get on the ground and go and see those suppliers who are doing something in the vicinity of what you do, and then talk to them about your idea and how they might work on that vision with you. So an example is, for Shoes of Prey, we found people who were already customizing or doing shoes on demand on a very small scale, and then we started to talk to them about the ways that we might work together to create our much bigger scale idea. Another way that you can find suppliers is by looking at the brands who are doing something similar to what you want to do, or exactly what you want to do, and trying to find their suppliers. Now, I will warn you, this is a little bit of a tricky path, because often suppliers are treated as being secret sauce and things that brands don't want to share, so it's unlikely you'll be able to ring and say, hey, who are your suppliers? But take some digging if you do want to go down that path. I put links below to the Canton Fair and to Alibaba, just in case they're useful or helpful for you. I know there's a bit of a bias against made in China, and to be honest, I've been producing here for the past 6 years with Shoes of Prey, and I can say with my hand on my heart that it is a great place to make product. You just need to be diligent like you would producing anywhere in the world in terms of your quality and what it is that you want to make. Anyway, I also have a little video.
Okay, so in here we saw that she was letting us know that there was many ways of finding suppliers. First of all, you can find suppliers if you just go to Alibaba or AliExpress if you want to buy something that is already made. If you want to buy something that is a little more detailed, maybe you can go to a fair. If you want to find something that is really personalized, you will have to go to manufacturer, right? So depending on the product that you want to import, like I explained to you the beginning, it will depend who are you going to contact or get in touch with. Finally, to end today's sessions, I want to leave you the reference in here so you can check them later. And last but not least, we saw today's suppliers, the search of suppliers, we saw the product, we saw the international suppliers, some tools, how to use some tools, and also we saw a little video that maybe you can check later complete. I'm going to leave you all the links. In this case, the links are going to be here, and you will be able to find on your virtual classroom the details for in this case the material. You're going to be able to find the material and the video and also the exam. Okay, so I want to thank you for your attention. Remember that if you have any kind of questions, you can always contact Camex to info@camexperu.org.pe, and I'm going to leave you here on the chat with the link for the exam. Okay, so perfect. That will be all for today's class, and I want to thank you so much, and I'll look forward to see you next week. Okay, thank you very much. Remember, this was session 2, the search of suppliers, and your teacher Liliana Quipuzco. I really want to thank you for being here, and I hope that you